Will's brand new power chair hummed quietly as he rolled down the gravel path behind Mark. It was their first camping trip together since Will got the chair, and he couldn't help but feel both nervous and excited. The trail was wide enough to handle the wheels, and the padded leg supports kept him steady as the chair climbed over roots and rocks. Mark glanced back, smiling. "Doing okay back there, buddy?" Will blushed. Mark always used that gentle tone with him, the one that made his tummy flip and his cheeks warm. "Why yeah," Will mumbled, fiddling with the strap of the backpack clipped to his tray. Inside, carefully tucked away, were all the things he needed for the trip: snacks, bottles, and a few diapers just in case. The two of them reached a clearing near a sparkling lake, sunlight glinting off the water. Mark set down the tent gear while Will parked his chair close by. He felt safe with Mark handling the heavy lifting, but he also liked that Mark always checked in, always made him feel included. "Think you're ready for a little adventure?" Mark asked with a wink. Will giggled softly, his nerves melting away. He nodded, knowing this camping trip was about more than just the outdoors. It was about letting go, being cared for, and enjoying the special bond he and Mark shared. As Mark finished pitching the tent, Will sat back in his power chair, staring at the trees swaying above them. His thoughts wandered, and after a while he spoke quietly. "You know, there's this guy named Sam," Will said, fiddling with the corner of his blanket. "He's got SMA. Kinda like me. But also not. He's completely different, really. Still, I keep thinking maybe he could help me somehow." Mark looked over, brushing the dirt off his hands. "Help you how, buddy?" His voice was calm, curious. Will shrugged, cheeks pink. "I don't know yet. Just I think he understands stuff I can't explain. Stuff about chairs, and needing care all the time. Even if he and I aren't the same, maybe talking to him would make me feel less weird, you know." Mark gave a gentle smile and knelt beside Will's chair. "That makes a lot of sense. Sometimes it's easier to talk to someone who's been through something similar, even if they're not exactly like you." Will's chest fluttered a little. It wasn't often he admitted feelings like that, especially about needing help. But Mark's warm tone made it safe. The crackle of the campfire soon filled the silence, but Will's mind was still on Sam. Maybe this camping trip wasn't just about exploring the outdoors. Maybe it was about figuring out what kind of support he needed, and who could give it. The tent was finally up, and Mark was adjusting the stakes when a voice rang out across the clearing. "Mark! Will!" They both turned to see a lanky guy in a ranger vest, clipboard tucked under his arm. He walked with a bit of a bounce and a grin, clearly in charge of something. "That's me," Mark answered, waving. "Name check," the man said, flipping through his list. "Mark and Will." "Got it." He scribbled quickly, then smirked. "Newbies, huh? You two just unpacked, I can tell." Will blushed, unsure if the guy was teasing or just friendly. "Name's Liam," he added, giving a nod before pulling a walkie-talkie from his belt. With a practiced click, he spoke into it. "Sam, you copy? Mark and Will are here, cabin 1. There was a short burst of static before a calm voice came through. "Copy. On my way." Will froze at the mention of the name. His heart gave a little jump. Sam. The guy he had only heard about, the one he thought might understand him. He hadn't expected to actually meet him today. Mark noticed the way Will's fingers tightened against his tray. He leaned down and whispered, "Looks like you're about to get that chance, buddy." Will's cheeks burned, both nervous and excited, as the hum of his power chair filled the quiet clearing while they waited. Mark unzipped one of the duffel bags, pulling out the supplies he knew Will would need soon. He spoke softly, "All right, buddy, let's get you changed before things get too damp." Liam noticed and gave a little nod. "No problem. Use any bed inside the cabin, I'll wait out front for Sam. 5 minutes tops." He was already stepping back toward the porch, giving them privacy. Mark guided Will inside, the wood floors creaking under the wheels of his power chair. He parked him by the nearest bed and started setting things up. But before Mark could get far, Will's face tightened and he shook his head. Mark. Let's just go home. This is weird. I don't like it. I feel uncomfortable right now. Mark crouched beside him, resting a steady hand on his knee. Hey, remember what Mum and Dad said? Try this for 2 whole days. If you don't enjoy it after that, I'll pack everything up and drive you home myself. Deal. Will hesitated, chewing his lip. Deal. Good boy, Mark said with a small smile, brushing Will's hair out of his eyes. We'll take it one step at a time. And I'll be right here with you the whole way. Will exhaled, his shoulders loosening just a little as Mark began to help him get settled. Outside, the faint crackle of Liam's walkie-talkie reminded him Sam was on his way. Just as Mark was tucking the supplies back into the bag, a knock came at the cabin door. You guys all good in there? Liam called. Mark glanced at Will, who was now lying back against the pillows, freshly changed and looking a little calmer. Mark raised his voice just enough. Yeah, we're good. He's still in bed, but he's all done. There was a pause, then Liam's voice again, lighter this time. Perfect. Sam should be here any second. I'll send him in when he arrives. Will's heart gave a nervous flutter. He tugged at the blanket over his legs, hiding the soft crinkle beneath, his eyes darting toward the window where shadows moved outside. Mark sat on the edge of the bed, giving his hand a reassuring squeeze. Relax, buddy. No one's here to judge you. Just breathe. If it's too much, we take it slow, okay? Will nodded quickly, but his stomach still twisted as the sound of wheels on gravel approached. The cabin door creaked open, and a young man rolled in smoothly in his own chair. His voice carried a calm confidence as he said, Hey, must be Mark and Will. Mark stood, offering a warm smile. That's right. I'm Mark, and this here's Will. He gestured toward the bed where Will was half hiding under the blanket. He's just being a little shy and nervous, that's all. Sam gave a gentle grin, wheeling closer but not too close. That's all right. First days are always like that. No rush. He parked a few feet away, giving Will plenty of space. Hi, Will. I'm Sam. I heard you guys were new out here, so I thought I'd stop by. Will peeked out from under the blanket, cheeks burning, and managed a small, H-high. Mark chuckled softly and patted Will's hand. See? Nothing to worry about. Sam leaned back in his chair, relaxed. Trust me, I know how weird it can feel at first. Took me a while, too. But you'll get the hang of it. Will's chest fluttered, half from nerves, half from relief. Sam didn't push, didn't pry. He just understood. Will fidgeted with the blanket, his eyes darting between Sam's chair and Mark's reassuring smile. Finally, he found his voice. So, you're the camp director? He asked softly. Sam nodded. Yeah. The old director retired last year. My family and I bought the place together, and now we run it. His grin widened with a hint of pride. It's a lot of work, but we love it. I wanted this camp to be a spot where kids and adults with all kinds of needs could come, relax, and feel safe. Mark raised his brows. That's impressive. No wonder Liam kept saying good things about you. Will blinked, surprised. Wait. So this whole camp is yours? Mine and my family's, Sam corrected gently. But I'm the one who makes sure everything runs day to day. He leaned forward a little. That's why I wanted to meet you two in person. I know what it's like to show up somewhere new and feel out of place. Thought maybe I could make it a little easier. Will's chest warmed. Something about hearing that made the knot in his stomach loosen. Sam wasn't just some stranger, he understood. Sam leaned back in his chair, folding his hands in his lap. I've got SMA, same as you, Will. Growing up, I had to learn to accept that I'd always need help. At first, I hated it, I just wanted to be independent. But little by little, I realized it wasn't weakness to lean on people. It actually gave me more freedom to enjoy things I loved, like running this camp. Will listened intently, eyes wide. It was strange hearing someone else put into words the feelings he'd struggled to explain. Before Sam could go on, the cabin door swung open and a lanky teen with messy hair poked his head in. "Sam!" Ed blurted, a little out of breath. "Daddy John needs you, because Daddy Allen is being a bee." He caught himself, glancing at Mark and Will, then finished awkwardly. "Being a bitch right now." Sam sighed, rubbing his forehead, though there was a hint of a smile at the corner of his mouth. "Of course he is." Mark chuckled, raising an eyebrow. "Sounds like camp life keeps you busy." "Always," Sam replied. He looked back at Will, his tone softening again. "But don't worry, I'll be back in a bit. We'll talk more." Will nodded slowly, feeling a mix of nerves and relief. For the first time, he didn't feel so alone. When Sam rolled out with Ed, the cabin quieted again. Will shifted on the bed, staring at the ceiling for a moment before whispering, "Liam." The ranger poked his head back in. "Yeah, buddy." Will bit his lip. "Will this place help me? Like Sam? I mean, not in exactly the same way, but you know." Liam stepped in a little, leaning against the doorframe. His smile was steady. "Not in the exact same way, no. But yes, this place is built to help you figure things out. To make life a little easier and a lot more fun." Mark nodded from the bedside, resting a hand gently on Will's shoulder. "Exactly. Remember what Ron told us? You've got to try something new first before you know if you'll like it or not." Will exhaled slowly, still nervous, but a little spark of hope flickered in his chest. Maybe, just maybe, this camp could be the place where things started to feel different. The morning sun filtered through the trees as Will rolled out of the cabin, Mark guiding him toward the activity area. Today was his very first camp activity, a low ropes course designed for campers of all abilities. Will's stomach fluttered nervously, but the fresh air and birdsong were calming. Just as they reached the group, Sam wheeled over to Mark and gestured for a quiet word. "Mark, I'm going to put you in a different group than Will," he said, lowering his voice. "You and your parents told me that you want Will to become more independent, so we'll set it up that way. The new guy in Will's group will be Boobay, and you can act as a floater for now. Don't worry, Peter has worked here for 3 years, and he'll help guide him." Mark furrowed his brow. "Are you sure, Sam? Will's going to be okay on his own with the group?" Sam gave a reassuring nod. "Yes. He's ready for this. We'll take it slow, and the staff are trained to help without taking over. He'll get a chance to try things on his own while still being safe. Trust me." Mark exhaled and smiled, squeezing Will's hand gently. "All right, buddy. Looks like today's your day to shine." Will's eyes widened as Boobay, a cheerful camper in a bright orange shirt, waved at him. "Hi. I'm Boobay. Ready to try the course." Will's nervousness mixed with excitement. "Why yeah. I think so." Sam wheeled off to check on another group, leaving Will and Mark to take their positions. Mark whispered, "Remember what we said? Try first, see how it feels. You've got this, Will." Will nodded, gripping his Powerchair's joystick a little tighter. For the first time, he felt like maybe this camp could actually be his place. As Will approached the ropes course area, a friendly voice spoke up beside him. "Hi. I'm Peter," said a young man with a warm smile, kneeling so he was at eye level with Will. "I'm your buddy for this week. Don't worry, your brother's in another group, so you get your own space to try things at your pace." Will blinked, still feeling a little nervous. "Okay." Peter leaned closer, glancing at Will's Powerchair and then at the supplies Mark had brought. "First things first," he said gently, "let me help you get changed before the group activity starts. That way you'll be comfortable and ready to try everything." Will's cheeks flushed, but he nodded. Okay." Peter guided him to a quiet corner of the activity area, pulling out a clean set of clothes and other essentials from a small backpack. "We'll go step by step. No rush, no pressure. Just focus on you." Mark stayed nearby, giving a reassuring smile. You're in good hands, buddy. Just relax and take it slow. Will exhaled, letting himself trust Peter's calm energy. For the first time that morning, he felt like he might actually enjoy this new experience, especially with someone kind and understanding guiding him. Peter pulled a clean pad from his backpack and carefully placed it on Will's Powerchair seat. You always double diapered, right? He asked gently, keeping his tone light and matter-of-fact. Will nodded, a little embarrassed. Yeah. They wrote that in the application. Peter gave a reassuring smile. Makes sense. Helps everyone know how to support you. Will shifted slightly, feeling the pad beneath him, and admitted quietly, my brother and my parents make this easy on them. But I don't really like it. Peter nodded, understanding. That's okay. You don't have to like every part of it. We just make sure you're comfortable and can focus on having fun. Mark stayed nearby, giving Will a soft squeeze on his shoulder. See? Step by step. That's all that matters. Will exhaled slowly as Peter helped secure the rest of his gear. For the first time that morning, he felt a little less tense. The ropes course wasn't just about climbing or balance, it was about trying something new, and right now he had people around him who actually got it. Once everything was in place, Peter wheeled him over to the starting point. Ready to try the first challenge? He asked. Will gripped the joystick of his Powerchair a little tighter, nerves buzzing, but he nodded. Yeah. I think I am. Mark gave him an encouraging smile. I'll be right here if you need me, buddy. With Peter guiding him and Mark close by, Will took his first real step, or roll, into the camp adventure. Mark was already in the PT room, checking some of the equipment when he saw Will and Peter roll in together. Will, you good? Mark called, walking over. Will gave a small smile, cheeks still a little pink. Mark, I'm good. He hesitated, then asked quietly, why? Why did Mum write down double diapered on the application? Mark crouched to Will's level, keeping his tone calm and reassuring. Hey! Remember, it's not a punishment. They just wanted the staff here to know how to help you. That's all. Nothing to worry about. Will nodded slowly, glancing at Peter, who gave him an encouraging smile. I need to go back to my group now, Mark said, standing up. You'll be fine. Peter's got you. Peter stepped closer, ready to help Will settle onto the mat for the first PT activity. All right, bear hug or scoop up to place you on the mat. Will thought for a moment, then decided, scoop up. Let's start the PT. Peter gently scooped Will from his Powerchair and placed him carefully on the mat. Will let out a small giggle of nerves and excitement as he adjusted, feeling the supportive presence of both Peter and Mark nearby. See? Easy, Peter said with a smile. We'll go slow, step by step. Mark gave him a thumbs up from across the room. You've got this, buddy. Will's heart fluttered, but he felt ready. For the first time in a while, he realized trying something new, like this PT session, might actually be fun. Peter knelt beside Will on the mat, gently lifting his right leg. All right, let's start with this one, he said softly, guiding Will through the motion. Tell me, Will. What do you like to do? Helps me keep you distracted while we work. Will blinked up at him, thinking for a moment. I mostly like to read. And watch sports. Mostly. Peter smiled. Good choices. I read a lot too, and sports are fun. Maybe after PT, we can talk about your favorite teams while we stretch the other leg. Will felt his cheeks warm slightly, but it helped take his mind off the effort of lifting his leg. Okay. Yeah, that sounds nice. Peter guided his leg through another slow motion. See? Not too bad. Step by step. You're doing really well. Mark, standing nearby and watching, nodded quietly. That's my boy. Taking it slow and steady. You're gonna get the hang of this fast. Will exhaled, a small smile tugging at his lips. Even though PT could be tiring, having Peter there to guide him and talk to him about things he loved made it feel easier. Will shifted slightly on the mat, feeling the burn in his right leg ease as Peter gently guided him. "All right," Peter said softly, "let's try the left one now. I'll barely help this time, you got this." Will nodded, determination flickering in his eyes. Slowly, carefully, he began to lift his left leg. It wobbled at first, but he kept going, gripping the mat lightly for support. Peter's hands hovered just beneath, ready to catch him if needed, but mostly letting Will do it on his own. Mark, who had stepped back to give him space, watched quietly. A smile spread across his face as Will raised his left leg fully for the first time. His heart swelled with pride. Mark quickly pulled out his walkie-talkie and spoke softly, "Sam. You seeing this?" Will just lifted his left leg fully on his own, first time ever. Through the static, Sam's calm voice came back. "Copy that. That's fantastic news. He's really making progress." Will's cheeks burned, half from effort and half from pride. He looked at Peter, who gave him a subtle thumbs up. "See? Told you, you've got it." Mark crouched beside him once more, resting a hand on his shoulder. "I'm so proud of you, buddy. That's huge. Keep going, one step at a time." Will exhaled, a smile tugging at his lips. For the first time, he felt the thrill of independence, doing something on his own that he never thought he could. Mark glanced at the clock and realized his group was running late. He looked over at Will and Peter, smiling. "Hey, I'm free for a minute, may I?" Peter glanced at him, then nodded. "Up to you, your brother." Will's cheeks flushed slightly, and he shook his head with a small grin. "Stay." Mark chuckled softly, respecting his brother's choice. "All right, buddy. Your call. I'll just watch for now." Peter gave a subtle thumbs up to Will. "See? You're in charge. You decide who helps and when. That's part of getting more independent." Will exhaled, feeling a tiny thrill of control and confidence. Even small choices like this, deciding who could assist him, made him feel more grown-up. Mark leaned back slightly, keeping a watchful but relaxed eye on him. "Just remember, I'm right here if you need me." Will smiled softly, gripping the mat a little tighter as Peter guided him through the next stretch. For the first time, he felt like he was not just being helped, he was choosing how to be helped. Will finished the last stretch, breathing a little heavier but smiling with pride. Peter helped him settle back onto his power chair. "Great job today, Will. You really pushed yourself." Mark stepped closer, glancing at the small pool area ahead. Will's stomach tightened slightly. He'd never liked swimming much, especially in groups. Mark crouched beside him. "Will. Next up is swimming." Will's lips pressed together. I hate the pool." Peter gave him a reassuring smile. "Don't worry. I've got you the same way as before, step by step. We can take it slow, just like we did in PT." Will nodded, trying to steady his nerves. "One step at a time?" "Exactly," Peter said, kneeling beside him. "We won't rush. You decide the pace, and I'll be right here the whole time. Just like before." Mark squeezed Will's shoulder gently. "See? You've already done so much today. If you take it slow, you might even enjoy a little. And if not, that's fine too." Will exhaled, letting himself trust Peter and Mark again. For the first time, the pool didn't feel like a looming threat, it was just the next small challenge, one he could handle at his own pace. Inside the changing area, Peter had already laid out what they'd need, a stack of soft, colorful floaties and a pair of bright water wings waiting on the table. He turned to Will with a calm smile. "All right, buddy. First things first, I'll get you changed. You only have to do two things, breathe, and trust me." Will swallowed hard, his eyes flicking to the floaties. His chest fluttered nervously. "Breath. And trust," he repeated quietly. Peter nodded, steady and patient. "That's right. We'll take it one step at a time, just like we did in PT. I'll help you into the swim gear, then into the water. You won't be alone for a second." Mark leaned against the doorway, giving Will an encouraging smile. See? He's got you. And I'll be right here watching, cheering you on. Will's cheeks warmed. He still hated the thought of the pool, but the way Peter said it, calm and certain, made it feel a little less scary. Okay. Will whispered, gripping the armrest of his power chair. I'll try. Good boy, Peter said softly, gently starting to change him and slip the water wings over his arms. We'll make this easy. Peter worked carefully, changing Will into a fresh diaper first, then slipping him into the snug swimming trunks made for the pool. Over his arms went the bright water wings, the soft squeak of plastic making Will squirm a little, cheeks pink. There we go, Peter said gently, patting his shoulder. Fresh and ready. You look great, buddy. Mark smiled from the doorway. See? Nothing to worry about. Just one step at a time. Out by the pool, laughter suddenly echoed. Liam, with his mischievous grin, gave Sam's wheelchair a playful nudge, sending him rolling right into the shallow end with a splash. Liam. Sam sputtered, shaking water from his hair, but his laugh followed right after. He glanced over at Will with a grin. See you in there. Will couldn't help but giggle at the sight. The camp director himself was in the pool, making it look a little less scary. Peter knelt down beside Will. Ready to give it a try? We'll go slow, and you'll be safe the whole time. Will took a deep breath, looking between Peter's patient smile, Mark's encouraging nod, and Sam floating nearby in the water. For the first time, the pool didn't seem impossible. It felt like maybe, just maybe, he could do it. Peter cradled Will carefully, lifting him from his chair and stepping down into the water with slow, steady movements. The water rippled up around them, cool but not too cold. Will clung a little tighter to Peter's shoulder, eyes wide with nerves. Sam floated nearby, his voice calm but strong. Will, I know you've already done a lot on your very first day here. But this is the last thing, buddy. Take over your fear and trust Peter right now. Mark stood at the pool's edge, hands clenched nervously, but his eyes full of pride. You've got this, Will. Just breathe. Peter adjusted his hold, letting the water wings keep Will steady while slowly loosening his grip. I won't let go unless you say so. You're safe. Will's chest rose and fell fast, then slower as he let out a shaky breath. For the first time, he loosened his grip, letting the water hold him. His legs floated a little, and Peter smiled. There you go, Peter whispered. You're doing it. Will blinked in surprise. He wasn't sinking. He wasn't failing. He was floating, something he never thought he could do. Sam gave a small cheer. That's it. Welcome to camp, Will. Mark grinned, pulling his phone out of a waterproof pouch he'd brought. Mom, Dad, guess what? He angled the camera toward the pool. Both your sons are in the water right now. Look at Will. On the screen, their parents' voices rose in happy surprise. Oh, sweetheart, we're so proud of you. Will flushed, half embarrassed but mostly glowing. He splashed a little with one hand, laughing nervously. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Love you. Love you too, they both said together, their faces lit up with joy. Mark chuckled. All right, we've gotta go. Just wanted you to see this. Love you. He ended the call and tucked the phone away, his eyes shining. See, Will? Day 1, and you've already given Mom and Dad the best surprise. Will looked at Peter and then at Sam, the nervousness finally melting into pride. I actually did it. Sam nodded from the water, smiling. Yeah, you did. And tomorrow, you'll do even more. Will leaned against the pool rail, still catching his breath from the excitement. His voice was small but curious. Sam. On the first day, you've got so many things to do. But you've been helping me all day. Why? Sam floated closer, resting his arms on the edge of the pool. He glanced at Peter, at Liam, and finally at Mark before locking eyes with Will. His tone softened. Because you remind me of myself, Will. The first time I came to this camp, I was 19 years old. I was scared, I felt different, and I wasn't sure if I belonged. He gave a small smile. But today, watching you, you showed me how I used to be. And now, I get to show you what you can become. Mark blinked hard, holding back tears. Peter smiled and gave Will's shoulder a gentle squeeze. Liam, usually the jokester, stayed quiet for once, nodding with respect. Will swallowed, his chest warm. So, you really think I can do it? All of this? Sam's answer was steady, confident. Not just think, I know. One day, you'll be the one reminding someone else that they can. As the sun dipped low, the smell of wood smoke drifted across the camp. Daddy John and Daddy Allen worked together with Ed, making sure the campfire was stacked high and safe, benches set in a circle. Lanterns flickered on as campers began to gather, the crackle of flames lighting up excited faces. Will rolled up beside Mark, Peter close by. His body was tired, but his heart felt lighter than it had in a long time. He glanced at Sam, who was helping someone settle into a seat near the fire. Sam, Will said quietly. Thanks for today. Sam looked over, smiling warmly. No, Will. Thank you. You made this day something special. Before Will could answer, Liam plopped down on the bench beside him, stretching his legs dramatically. He smirked. Don't get too sappy, you two. It's only day one. Everyone chuckled, the fire popping as sparks danced upward into the night sky. And with that, the first day of camp came to a close, full of challenges, courage, and the promise of more adventures ahead.